Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. It's fantastic to have you here. So in this video, we are going to be creating a web application together, but not just any web app. We are going to be creating a clone of the extremely viral hit sensation app, Umax. Now, Umax was built by a lad named Blake Anderson. If you haven't heard of him, you're probably living under a rock. 23 or 24-year-old entrepreneur. And he's just a huge inspiration to me personally on my entrepreneurial journey. He created this app with like no coding knowledge, which we're going to replicate today. So we're going to try and like walk in his shoes and follow his path while we create a clone of this app. And you got to go check him out. Follow him on all socials, watch a few of his podcasts that he's been a guest on. His story is so cool. And he's just such a cool guy, like super interesting. So check him out. All credit goes to him for this concept and this video. And the whole idea of the app is that it's a looks maxing app. So it analyzes a picture of your face and then it will give you like scores and ratings and tell you if you're like cooked or not, essentially. So he created it and we are going to recreate it in this video. So without further ado, let's get into the video. We're going to code this thing together. If you're an expert, if you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, follow along, and we're going to build this thing using a lot of help from AI. Okay, perfect, everyone. Let's get into the video. So the very first step, you're going to want to go to your browser and look up windsurf IDE. Now, IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. And if you're new to programming, this is where we do our coding. This is where we create our application. So windsurf editor by Codium should be the top result there. So, oh, it's funny. They have a picture of some guy actually windsurfing. So windsurf is incredible. It is an IDE, very similar to VS Code. VS Code is kind of like the main one that people use out there. However, with windsurf, you have access to free usage of GPT-4o and Claude 3.5 Sonnet, I believe. So you have access to two extremely powerful large language models, these AI models that can literally code for you and do like get your app off the ground. And then you can kind of polish it off yourself. That's at least my workflow that I've been using this for. But it is so good. It's like actually disgusting how good it is. A lot of YouTube videos, if you've been following this topic, have been using bolt.new. And what's that other one? Cursor is the other one. But I would argue that you need to spend more time looking into windsurf. And hopefully this video can inspire you because it is so good. And I'm going to obviously show you all the benefits and the features in this video. So make sure you download the windsurf editor, click this nice big button right there. You can see all download options again if you want Windows, Linux, Mac, whatever you need. So that's the first step. All right, so once you download windsurf here, you're gonna wanna open it up and then create a file. File can be whatever you want. I've called it LooksMax clone. You wanna name it appropriately to what the project is, obviously. And then you're just gonna wanna open it up, click on it. So open it in the editor just like that. Now, you can see on the right-hand side of the screen here, this write with Cascade, this is that insanely powerful AI code editor that I was talking about. So this does so much work for you. It's actually like stupid how good this is. In my opinion, like very comparable to Cursor and very comparable to bolt.new, the two that are like, that everyone seems to be talking about right now. But this one is completely free and you had access to GPT-4o and Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and then Cascade Base, which is, I believe, their own LLM that they've trained, but I don't have any experience with it, so we're not going to use it in this video. We're going to use Claude 3.5 Sonnet to code this out. So the first step you've done, open it up in the editor. Congratulations. Now we are going to use this with a large prompt to actually start off our file and actually start writing code for us that we'll be able to use in production and develop our app. So let's go over, this was a little tester I did, but we're not going to use that. So let's go over to Rapid API. Rapid API is the API provider that we're going to be using to gain access to this Vision API. That's going to do all the heavy lifting in our app. So come on over to Rapid API. Oh, voice crack. Do you hear that? Jesus. So come on over to Rapid API, make a free account, and then this is the homepage you'll be greeted with. Go into the artificial intelligence category right here. You can see we have 1,807 different APIs. Ridiculous. So many choices. But we're going to go to the search bar and just type in vision, come on over and click on this one. This GPT vision right here. If you go to API overview, you can read about it. You can see what it does right here. So come up here, click on subscribe. Mine says change plan because I'm already subscribed. And you can see for the basic version for free, $0 a month, you get 300 requests a month, which is more than enough, super good. And the reason we're using this and not the OpenAI API, which is probably a question that maybe some of you were thinking or had, is because you can see for $5 a month, you get 100,000 credits. And if we hover over this, work, please. Vision chatbot requires 12 credits per request. Chatbot and all other AI services cost 6 credits per request. So more than I thought, actually, which is kind of annoying. But for $0 a month, we still get to test this out. Whereas with the OpenAI API, we're going to be paying, cents, but we're still going to be paying regardless to develop this app. But here we can have a few tries for completely free. So that's why we're going to be using this right here. So free plan, subscribe, boom. Now, if we go back, we can see all the endpoints here. We have the Vision chatbot, and it already auto-populates one of the headers with your API key, which is wonderful, very nice to have. So we're going to copy this, just copy that, because we're going to come back over to windsurf, and we're going to paste that in here into our prompt. So I'm going to give this the prompt now to get us started, and then we'll come back, take a look at it, and break it down. Okay, let's look at this here. We're creating an app today called LooksMax. The whole idea of the app is that you upload an image, it looks at your facial shape, skin quality, etc., hair, then gives you a rating based on how cooked you are or not, and it's gonna be displayed in a beautiful UI. I've told it to use a glass morphism effect. It's kind of like a popular kind of UI effect that a lot of people associate with very nice modern websites. And then I've given it our request that we copied and pasted from Rapid API. So that's super important because it needs context on like what to call and which API to use. Because if we don't give it this, by default, it will just go and use OpenAI's API, which we don't want because we're using Rapid API. So let's see what happens. Just hit enter. And what's so incredible about Cascade, like what's so insane about Cascade, is that it can literally just create files for you on the spot. And it also has context. Oh shit, I did not want to create it with Python. Delete, I don't want Python. Okay, so something you have to specify is what language you also want it to be written in. Okay, like what coding language. I want you to use create React app to create the app. And then I want you to use whatever styling component or library you want to make this thing look amazing. Okay, so that's something I did not specify. I wanted to use create React app just because it's super easy to use create React app, and it's like, yeah, it's just way easier. I don't want to use TypeScript. I want to use JavaScript. Again, just messing the AI up, just completely confusing it. Let's create the React app with JavaScript instead. npx create React app. Okay, cool. So now it's actually giving us terminal commands to run. And it's running these terminal commands for us in our directory, in our folder right here. And you can see it actively create our files for us. It's so amazing and powerful. It's almost hard for me to believe. So it's going to running the terminal command. And then you'll see after this finishes running, it's going to give us new commands to run. And then our only job is to accept them or decline them. Now let's install the necessary dependencies so you can see all this stuff using Chakra UI. Awesome, we like Chakra, and we just hit accept, and you can see in real time it's generating files on the left-hand side right here. So cool. Okay, cool. So there was just a couple issues with the actual dependencies not being able to install, but really what's so amazing about this is that it just kind of works itself out as it goes. Okay, beautiful. So it's creating all of our files. We can see it first analyzes the file. You can see up here, analyzed app.js. The reason it analyzes and doesn't just create right away is so it can actually gain context on what needs to be done. so it doesn't write redundant code that we don't need. Then it's created the appropriate stuff. You can see it's added 33 lines of code. In image upload.js, it's added 119 lines of code. In results display, it's added 159. So it's really just doing all the heavy lifting for us, which is really, really crazy. So it's saying it's running on localhost 3000, which it is. So you can see back here. So you can see, where is it up here? Right in here, you can see localhost 3000. You can now view Umax clone in your browser. So if we go over here, quite a nice UI. If I do say so myself, we'll have to increase the contrast on this button because you can't really see it, but that's something that we can easily do. So when we click upload file, nothing happens. So that's our first issue. Now, when you have these issues, and then down here, you hit accept all if you like the changes it's made, and then it will insert the changes into the code permanently. Doesn't seem to be working for me right now, but if you hit accept all, it should work. I've noticed it has been a little buggy recently, but should work when you hit accept all there. So now we should need to say an image. Let me check the upload image component and make the necessary adjustments to ensure the file upload works correctly. So when you're developing with AI, especially when you're just getting an MVP or a minimum viable product complete, it really is just about getting an error, copying and pasting the error back into, in this case, our code editor, or if you're just using ChatGPT and like VS Code, copying and pasting it between those two, and really just going incrementally and like seeing what it's done here. So theme.js, you can see that we have imported the theme from Chakra UI, adding these global themes so the body will always be transparent no matter where we go on the app. And then in this main component right here, it actually specifies all of the styling that we want for our app right here. So, okay, good. Now we can upload a file. Let's upload this photo of me, my profile picture. If this says I'm cooked, the video is ending here. I'm going to say, it just says analyzing after I upload an image, and it seems that we are stuck on this analyzing phase without anything happening. So I need you to check your API calls and make sure that we're passing this image to the API and that the API can actually accept this image. I've added that in here. We're sending a base64 string because I believe the API integration can only handle, the image, the endpoint expects an image URL, but we're sending a base64 string. So now it should hopefully modify the code accordingly based on our needs. And let's see what we get now. So it's added 41 lines and it's deleted 15 lines. So it says it works now. We will be the judges of that. Upload, analyzing, failed to upload image. Okay, cool. Now we're getting a so just error, retry, fix the app, don't fix the app. Then another thing that I would heavily encourage anyone who's watching this video to do is to go through our file structure over here and then click on certain stuff. Like go to our app, which is like really our main component of the file right here. Lot to unpack in here. Just click on it, go Command A, Command C, and then go and copy and paste it into ChatGPT. And literally just be like, describe the file structure to me. What's this piece of the code doing? What's this piece of the code doing? And then that way you're implementing project-based learning, aka we're doing a project. Even if AI is doing it for us, we are doing a project and we can see firsthand what the changes in our code do to our front end or to our back end. Or is the image uploading now? No. Okay, let's tweak this line of code. Okay, what about now? Oh, it's working now. So that line of code must have had a big impact on our image upload functionality. So through ChatGPT or any LLM, any language model, any AI, and then through project-based learning, getting the AI to generate code for you, you can see what the imports are doing, what this function called app is doing. And you just get a beautiful insight into what things do. And in my opinion, it speeds up your learning time pretty drastically. So with that being said, let's see if it's fixed it now. We still can't upload an image and it is not working at all. So it's saying that it's using an image hosting service, which I don't know if we need to do necessarily. Like maybe we could implement a local storage approach instead. Just try implementing a local storage feature so we don't have to use any third-party service. And so I've told it to stop using our third-party cloud storage software, which it was trying to do for some reason. And I've just said, just encode it base64 and then send the URL to the API, because we don't need any prolonged storage here. We just need the functionality of somebody uploading an image and then it analyzes it and then the image goes away. And then they can upload a new image, but people won't have like storage, like prolonged storage for their profiles. We're not integrating profiles or anything like that. So we don't need that right now. Let's see. So since it was still not processing the image correctly, what I did here is I went back to Rapid API, and for the target, I did a JavaScript request right here. So then I just took this whole piece of code, gave it to our windsurf AI, and just said, here's an example of a request, try to mimic this. And look at that. Okay, so we have our image analysis right here. Check the chart for your scores. So there's no charts, but bro, facial harmony, I'm murked. I got a 2. Skin quality, a 10. That's false. My skin is not a 10. Jawline, oh, I'm cooked. Hair quality and style, bro, I'm not a 10 either. It's just lying to me. It's lying to me. Okay, I just saved a picture of George Clooney. So let's see what it says about George Clooney. I'm super curious about this one. Okay, so it's just giving 5 out of 10 for everything, which we don't want. Now the app is just giving 5 out of 10 for every single metric, which we certainly don't want. All right, so now I basically just told it to be more savage and just be like, bro, like you're murked or you're not, essentially. Like, so you're attractive or you're not. Like, it needs to be black and white, because at the end of the day, an app like this is designed to be truthful to some extent and not just tell people they're beautiful when it doesn't think it is. And also, you shouldn't be listening that closely to an AI anyway. So, you know, who cares if the app tells you you're cooked? If you don't think you're cooked, then yeah, you're not, right? So it needs to be honest and truthful. Doing this clone of Blake's app honestly gives me some really funny, like, insights or, like, you know, ideas as to what was going through his head when he was creating it, because it's pretty funny to make, honestly. Like, it's pretty funny. Now it is not displaying any results and everything is 0 out of 10 and it's not suggesting recommendations. Look at this. I'm blue light blockered up out here. Boys, you got to make sure you're locked in with these. Hit me up if you need a pair of blue light blockers. I got you. I don't think the photo's going through still. Okay, cool. So now we have the image actually displaying in the UI after we upload it. It says analyzing now. So let's see what it's saying about George Clooney. So something else that's quite useful to do is double click, go to inspect, and then go to console. And then you can see some errors here. So let me just copy all of these things here, paste them in here, and then we'll say, this is what was displaying in our console, and we did get a timeout error. So we need to make sure that the API is actually accepting our image and coming back successfully. So can you add some console logs in here to make sure that we have the correct data coming back from the API, because it's still not working and we really need to figure this out. So another strategy is to tell it to add console logs. Now what console logs are is essentially they'll say like received data or like data sent. So when we send the data, hopefully you should add a console log that says data sent, right? And then once we receive the data back, if we're getting the data, if we go into the console, it will say data received. However, if it's not displaying, then we know that it's not an issue with the API. So it's just a way for you to like at least rule out some potential issues or options that you have, just to narrow down and actually like fix the bug that you're having. So refresh, upload, Clooney, the Clooney guy. So look, sending request to API. Boom. So that is one of the console logs I believe it added. So we can see here, waiting, sending request to the API, taking a while, hope it doesn't time out. The text above is what we got back from the API, and it was much quicker this time. However, we didn't get any graphs, charts, or so it worked better that time once we copied and pasted our entire API response from our console. And now we're getting a different response that looks a lot smaller, first of all, and more organized. However, it's still not parsing this information correctly or capturing it correctly so that it can output it as our nice graphs with our UI, right, that we're actually looking for. So I've told it to change it again, 41 deletions, 73 insertions, and I just copied and pasted this brand new stuff we're getting in our console. And I was like, we're not getting what we need. We need you to parse this and put it in graphs and charts so it looks much nicer. So let's refresh our page, console, Clooney, image, Clooney, sending request, console, and we'll see what happens here. Look at this guy. Look at this absolute legend right here. It knows it's George Clooney, which is pretty cool. Celebrities are known for their chiseled faces, but George Clooney deviates slightly from that. His facial bones could use some more definition, mainly on the cheekbones. I mean, they're pretty defined, bro. So it knows it's George Clooney, so clearly the vision's working, right? So now let's just copy and paste this entire thing back because we're still not getting the graphs we want, the charts. So let's put that back in here, and then we'll say like, so you can see from the response in the console that it's working and it's analyzing the image correctly. However, it's not displaying the proper scores in the graphs. So that is the last piece of the puzzle we need to fix, as well as shortening the recommendations that it gives and adding that to the recommendation under each category. Boys, this is the last thing we got to do. I think this is literally the last prompt we're going to have to put in. I'm calling it right now. I think it's done. I honestly think it's done. We're going to put this in. And we're going to come back after it edits the results display.js, which is where we have all of our graphs and whatnot in components in results display, like this motion box. We're doing all of our stuff right here. Look at that. It returns this. So we have that here. We have each prop right here, scorecard, grid. It's simple, guys. It's simple here. Look at this. Boom. So now we have all the stuff, but okay, so that's good. Like that looks super clean. But we're not getting the recommendations. Okay, one more prompt. Okay, the charts are displaying now. However, we are not getting the recommendations. We need a detailed recommendation section on things that this person can do. And remember, we need to make sure this is small and concise. Modify the prompt if need be to make sure this is concise, short, straight to the point, and actionable so the person can, yay, come on, let's go. So now if we look in the right hand side in our console right here, you can see that we have the results, the scores, hair, skin quality, and then we have our improvement section. So this can all be looked at in app.js over here in our text, right? This is our prompt that we are giving the AI. And remember, the better the prompt, the better your output is going to be in the app, right? So with this last prompt I gave it, essentially just saying we need to modify the API response because it was being too cautious when it was looking at people. So we changed that. We made it more actionable. We said, be honest. People want feedback. So that was how we kind of overcame that issue. We just said, no, like people want this. Don't be weird about it. And from there, we've achieved our results with our graphs and then also our recommendations down here. So that's exactly what we wanted. That was the exact functionality we were going for. So our app's complete, right? And then we refresh and people can come back in, upload another picture and get more recommendations. So boys and girls, we did it. Be proud of yourself. You just created an app from nothing with the help of AI, a lot of help of AI, obviously, but we've created a good app. You've learned the skills of troubleshooting, looking at errors in the console, pasting them back into our code editor right here, and then letting Claude 3.5 Sonnet figure it out and troubleshoot for you. And then you've also learned the skill of prompting and also articulating the errors and articulating what you want in a web app, which is a skill in of itself, really, at the end of the day. And you've created an app. So the final thing you could do here is you could go to source control over here. You could go to GitHub, create an account, and then you could follow the steps to push this to GitHub. So then you can have a project on your GitHub that you've created that people can actually go in, clone, look at. And if you're looking for a job as a developer, if you're looking to get into tech, this is a really, really cool way to do that. Project-based. Now, your homework, if you choose to accept it, would be to complete this project or just clone it from my GitHub repository, because I will put that in the description, my GitHub with this project. Clone it, and then go file by file, put it into ChatGPT, and learn. Ask, what does this do? What does this do? And then ask for homework from ChatGPT on how to improve the app, or how to take it to the next level, or how to tweak this to get this. So just be self-directed, be motivated, because that is the number one way to learn. I genuinely think that if you follow this tutorial, even though we had AI code the entire thing, if you follow this tutorial step by step and have this repository open while you watch this video and follow along, and then actually go into it and dig deeper by yourself, you will learn more than if you wrote out every line of this code. Because ideally, you need to take this and then write more code yourself, right? It's all about just writing code and getting used to that. But everyone, thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next video.